today. Hope you are well. I've been messing around with various bits, and I've just bought a new microphone, which is not working as it should. One of these wireless ones, what you clip on here, and it's not really working. But never mind. Today I am the old git, even though it's only about 4 days. What is it? The 21st today of December, and I thought I'd review my top 10 gripes, because I am the old git, and things are really winding me up, particularly things to do with this new Stasi government, which is an absolute travesty. It has done so much damage and it intends to do so much more, and I hate it. It's awful, and hopefully people are going to have a nice Christmas, because this could be the last nice Christmas you have if it's left to these morons. Anyway, what I want to do is go through. I've got 10 points that have riled me so much that I thought I'd review them, because this is probably the last video I'm going to do before Christmas. And so let's get into it. First of all, let's have a look at this. Now, as this is, as you can see, immigrants arriving on our shores, uninvited, unannounced, no paperwork, don't know if they're criminals, we don't know what they are. And the question is this: has immigration, or as illegal immigration, tipped the balance to the total annihilation of the indigenous, that's a hard word, indigenous white Christian population of the UK, and the total erosion of British culture and customs? Now, I blame the last government and the new government, and as you see, there they are, parading across the beach. They're here and probably will never leave, and it's just making living in Britain so bad. I don't live there anymore. My family do, and my family, for example, my sister, she won't go out at night now, and yet she lives in used to be a reasonably safe town, well, a very safe town when I lived there. But anyway, things are changing. So let's go. My top 10 hates, and the top 10 things that are really making the old git feel bad. In fact, I won't let it spoil me Christmas because I don't live in England anymore. But in one way it will, because I'll be thinking of the people whose Christmas is spoiled. And just on that subject, yesterday, some lunatic in Germany drove through a Christmas market and killed, I think, 3 or 4 people, and he's injured. I think he's injured up to 200. I'm not going to quote the figures because the figures are not correct, or they might be correct. I'm not sure, because I got it from a good source, but I think it's up to 200 people have been injured, some with life-threatening injuries, and I think 1 child, as far as I know, and 3 other people or 4 other people have been killed because some lunatic decided to drive through the market, again attacking Christian values. This could happen anywhere in Europe, and it has done in the past, and it's just sickening to know the person that did it. According to what I've heard, the perpetrator is a man from, I think, from Saudi Arabia, from that area, and he professes not to be a Muslim. But come on, they come from that culture, as you know, and I don't think, if he says he's not a Muslim, maybe he's trying to protect Muslims, just kill people. I don't know. Who knows what the man was thinking? Apparently, he was a doctor, or he is a doctor, because he's not dead. I think the police have got him. Anyway, let's get on with the first thing that's riled me, and it's no particular order, just as I thought about him. We have to look at this man. This man, to me, left-wing Marxist Labour Party Prime Minister, who is proved in a short time, he and his party have been, in the short time they've been in power, they have no regard for anyone that does not conform to this sort of Marxist doctrine that they have, and this sort of authoritarian way of treating the population of Britain. I mean, they're making decisions about Brexit, for example, after the British people voted that they wanted to leave, and it's now trying to take them back in again through the back door with no regard for the British people, no regard for their opinion, without a mandate to do so. So this man and his party are really getting to me. I dislike them. You know, I'm from a working class family, and I thought the Labour Party, when it was established originally, was for the working man. It is not anymore that. It is for the champagne liberalists, or the champagne, they feel good because they think they're doing something for you. They're millionaires like this one here, and you know, he's just isn't fit to be the Prime Minister of England. And I would say he was probably the number one gripe I've got this year. The government that is turning Britain into a dustbin. Anyway, that's number one. So you see how it's going to go, don't you? I really going to make you all feel miserable, because I feel miserable too. And I don't even live in England anymore, which is really sad. Okay, let's go secondly to number two. Number two, we're looking at this. And what this is, I mean, protection to one group of society over every other person in the UK. Two-tier in every way. These people can do what they like, and they get the protection, as said by him himself, the Prime Minister, that they will get protection from the right wing. The people who are protesting against these people are not right wing, they're just right. They want their country back. But anyway, you see them there. They take it over the streets. You know that they go on College Green, for example. They go on, they say their prayers in the streets when there's thousands of mosques all over England, but they still come out, and that's a show of strength, a show of defiance, and a show that we are being taken over. I mean, the thing is, right, extending protection to the one group of people that reside in the UK over all the cultures and religions who live peacefully in what used to be Great Britain. And I say that because it used to be great. Now, if you go anywhere in Europe, people laugh when you're from England. Oh, you're not having it well there, are you? That's what you hear now. And, you know, it's ridiculous that one group of people are causing so much problem throughout the whole of Europe. I've got to say this, though. It's not all Muslims. But all Muslims are ruled by one thing, and that's what happens in the mosques, what's preached in the mosque. And they have to conform under threat that, oh, if you become westernized, we won't bury you in a Muslim cemetery, your children will be there. So they threaten them and put the fear of God in them. And that's what they do in their own countries, so that they follow the doctrine that they want them to follow, which is very sad. But it shouldn't be happening in England. Okay, so this one group have no regard for our laws. They have no regard for the laws. I've heard one particular one that made me laugh, and it was a guy in Canada, and he's saying, in your face, he said, the Sharia law is the first thing, because when I took the oath in Canada, I didn't speak, because I don't conform to your laws, I only conform to Sharia law, and that's your fault, he said. Well, okay, he's telling you straight. He came to Canada, he swore, but he didn't swear, an oath to the country, and still follows Sharia law and wants it for Canada. They live apart as well, which is something else that really makes me angry. They live apart in sort of, I'll put that down because they're getting on my nerves. They go to live in a sort of ghetto style place. They sort of congregate in one area, and then they dominate this area. And in some cases, if you're not one of them, you can't walk through there. And especially if you're a lady with a miniskirt on, or you haven't got your head covered. I've known people to be spat at and told and cans, and You can't drink beer walking down there. Not as I think you should drink beer on the street, but it's your right to do it in England if as long as you're not disturbing anyone. So they're following their own laws, and they have a total dislike of the British way of life and culture. So there you go. That's number 2 gripe that I have. Let's move on to number 3, which I think is one of the fundamental things that we should all have in the UK. We should be allowed to say what we want. Now, the banning of freedom of speech, unless it conforms to this Stasi government's doctrine, is if you say anything now, even earty words, or you have an opinion that's different, you get a knock on the door in England and they come and they arrest you, and people have gone to prison, which I find awful, terrible. Systematic banning of free speech, just like they do in many communist countries, releasing criminals out of prison to make room for the political prisoners of this government, who've done nothing more than exercise their right of freedom of speech, which we've had for hundreds of years in the UK. See, I'm getting excited now. Makes me angry. Okay? In one case, at least, the case of Peter Lynch, who did nothing but exercise his right to demonstrate. I think he was 66 or 61, 66 years old, grandfather, worried about the future of his children because of the inference of the takeover of his country by other people. He exercised his right to demonstrate, which led to his death in prison. It's totally wrong. Totally wrong. Meanwhile, 2 people who are protected, well, let's have a look at them, shall we? These people here, Peter Lynch and others, have been sent to prison within weeks of saying something they shouldn't say or whatever. These people who were in this fracas, only I heard that they were on the 20th, I think it was the 20th of January, so that was a day ago, I suppose, that they have now been charged with something. So I don't want to go on about it. You've all seen the film, or the clip there. Let's see what happens to them, shall we? And remember, in that attack, a policewoman's nose was brutally broken, and it was a female officer, and they have no regard, as far as I'm concerned, for law and order, but that's it. But anyway, we don't want to talk about that anymore. I'm not going to say any more than we already know, because it is now definitely going to court, which is great. Moving on, shall we? Move on to this. What's this, you might ask? Well, this is my number 4, by the way, I keep forgetting to say number 4, allowing laws and courts to exist outside the rule of British courts and laws. In fact, Sharia law. Now, Sharia law, I've noticed the last few days people, some commentators say, oh yeah, well all they do is talk about, divorce and family problems. No. Go to any Muslim country and find out what Sharia law is. If you commit a crime, they cut off your hand. If you're gay, they hang you by a crane. If you're not... This is Sharia law, really. Now, the thin end of the wedge is allowing these courts. We have one country, one law, and it should be British law. And they conform to that, or go and live somewhere where you'll be happy because they have Sharia law and they can cut people up and shoot them and kill them and do whatever they want. Women have no status. Men can divorce. They can have 4 wives. It's your kismet. Go and do it if you want to, but not in the UK. The UK has its own law. And I really, really feel strongly about that. One law. I live in Spain. I live by one law, the Spanish law. Stay with this growing culture I mentioned earlier. I believe there's around about 85 Sharia law courts or councils in the UK. Well, surely everybody should live under the British law and not call for a separate law. Surely, well, they should not. Okay, there's an argument to say that they have similar sort of councils in other religions. They do, but they only rule on religious aspects, not the whole of your life. If you shave your beard off, you can get a flogging. You have to grow a beard and all this. So if you go to any social platform, and I said this culture that's growing and growing faster than we thought it was in the UK, there's people on there that are very brave, especially younger ones, which I'm surprised at, calling for Sharia law. I'm not going to put one on because I'm not going to give them the platform, but I found many, and I fact-checked them just to make sure that these people are real. They're saying, and the ones I found they are about, no, we don't want none of your alcohol drinking, we don't want none of your homosexuality, we don't want this, nah, we want Sharia law. These are people sitting in England. Well, I'm sorry, the day that you're given the right to make legal decisions is the day that Britain's finished. And if it goes on the way it is, it's not going to be too long for that. So that's number 4. Let's go now to number 5. And I said there's no particular order, but number 5, this is shocking. And I'm reverting back to that Stasi government that we have, and punishing pensioners by taking away their benefits and possibly causing premature deaths. Now, I find the decision to stop pensioners' fuel allowance, in my opinion, it's obscene. It's absolutely obscene. The horrible Stasi government don't care about them because they traditionally don't vote Labour. It's true that up to 4,000 deaths could directly be attributed to this action of stopping this winter fuel payment for pensioners. The whole of the Labour Party, as far as I'm concerned, will have blood on their hands by the end of next year. So you could hang your heads in shame. You know, in a lot of cultures, the older people are revered for the knowledge and the experience, and they're treated well. England is supposed to be one of the richest countries in the world, when other countries pay over double in pensions because they respect and care for them. You know what? 4,000 people die. If they do, that's 4,000 pensions they don't have to pay. Double whammy, yeah? Take the fuel allowance, double whammy. So for me, again, this Labour government is the worst thing. In fact, we shouldn't even call them Labour because they're not a true Labour government. They're not. True Labour government died with Harold Wilson, I think. You might know who he was. I'm old, so I remember. So, think on, all you left-thinking idiots in the government now. Blood will be on your hands. Sleep at night and dream about the old pensioner who's dying in her own house because she won't put on the fire, because she can't afford it. But she has the morals to not do it because she doesn't want to be able not to pay. Whereas we get thousands and hundreds of thousands of scroungers who don't care, claim off the government, get more money, and they don't worry about their bills. They should be revered. Okay, I'm not saying for me, I'm a pensioner anyway, but I'm not saying it's for... I live in a warm country, things are okay. I'm talking about people who are going to obviously die of cold or hypothermia this winter because they're too proud to get in debt. Where's the pride of Britain gone? Down the toilet with the rest of the population. Anyway, moving on. We're going to move on now to, what are we there? We're number 5. We're only halfway through and I'm having a coronary already. Right, anyway. Number 6. Now this again is due to not just this government, but governments before. Too many British people are sleeping on the streets. Too many. About 22% of the homeless people in London are ex-servicemen or servicewomen or service people, okay? And many other people across the UK are homeless. And meanwhile, the government pays out about 1.3 billion a year housing criminals, illegal. I will never call them migrants or asylum seekers because they're not. They're mostly fighting age men who throw away their passport, you don't know where they're from, and they're on the streets. In fact, to me, this is part of the fifth column army that is now being built up in our country. You might say that's conspiracy, but look how many of them there is now, and look how the strength of our army and our police force. The police force are afraid of them, afraid to act when they do bad things. In fact, you've got vigilante groups going out now capturing them when they've been grooming and raping young girls, arranging to meet 13 but in my country, you're not in your country, you're in England, and again, one law of the land should be the British law. Do not break it if you come here. Anyway, it's estimated, and this is an interesting point, it's estimated the cost to place one migrant in a hotel is about £4,300 a month. Now, these figures, they came from a website which is to do with the government, which I checked, and that means the amount they're paying to put them in there, paying for their food, giving them their pocket money, their dental health, they get free, everything's free, okay? Now, put that into perspective. This is about one and a half times more than the average pay of a nurse who gets about £2,780 a month. So if you're a migrant, your value is higher than a nurse's value. It's disgusting. It's immoral. They should give them a tent and let them stay in a camp somewhere, like they do in France. I mean, I've heard French spend about €50 a month on them or something ridiculous like that, whereas we spend 4,300. Horrible, isn't it? If people who came from Ukraine, for example, they were really fleeing war, and they deserve to get away from there. But these people who are using this asylum system to get into Britain, they're not fleeing any war. They were nice and safe in France or wherever they came, but they just want to get here because England is an easy touch. They laugh at us. I've seen on TikTok one guy with a placard, he's holding it in the hotel room, and he's throwing money on the floor and he goes, ha, ha, ha. And it says, free food, free this, free that, why don't you all come? I mean, it's, disgusting. Anyway, and these migrant criminals, or criminals as I call them, are entering the UK, like I say, without a passport, without ID, and it's a crime. Yes, there's a procedure to go into any country, and you must have your papers. So the first thing they've done when they step on the English shore is broke the law. They're criminals. End of story. So that's another gripe out of the way. Let's go to number 7. Number 7. Who do you think that? Who's that character there? For me, I call him Ed Siliband. Ed Siliband. Okay. Net zero stupidity idiot. £22 billion in investment on unproven green tech. Green tech. Unproven, of course. And that's your money, taxpayers' money. And it's up in smoke. Polluting the atmosphere, it's up in smoke. And this idiot has got as much knowledge about net zero, or whatever you want to call it, as a 5-year-old down the street, And he keeps on wind power, solar panel, and that's just all he's blinkered mind can see. Well, there's better men than him who know a thing or two about clean air or whatever you want to put. I have a different feel. I'll talk to you about this net zero thing in a minute, but there's a better man than him who's British, and I think they should give the job to this man to clean up the atmosphere over UK. And that's Lord Bamford. Do you know who Lord Bamford is? I'll tell you. He runs the company JCB, and he's invested hundreds of thousands of pounds already into hydrogen. He's already, you know, the excavators and the backhoes and all that, he's already got them running on that, clean. What's the byproduct of hydrogen? And these are internal combustion engines running on hydrogen. Fantastic. And the byproduct of it is, the exhaust is, shall we say, water. That's it. It's clean, it's a good fuel, it's all around us, anybody can produce it. I'll tell you a funny story. My brother, who's a mechanic, decided to make some hydrogen in his front room, and I think he overdid it a little bit and blew his windows out. But there you go, powerful thing. And people say, oh well, you know, it could, it's dangerous. Hang on. This free energy is all around us. It can be transported in tankers. It can be stored. Unlike electricity, use it, then you lose it. But it's there all the time, all around us, and it can be produced easily. And then I know that they have two types of engine. They have an engine that runs on a kind of electric motor, making its own energy, and one that uses the liquid hydrogen, which is like filling your car up at a garage with petrol. And people say, oh, but it's dangerous. No, it's not. You know, when you're driving down the road in your petrol car, you're sitting on a bomb just the same as you are if you had hydrogen. But hydrogen technology is so good now, it's just as good as, or just as safe as any other car. I find EVs more dangerous and more polluting. Why? Look at the children in the Congo who are scraping cobalt out of the land to help make the batteries and getting $1 a day. Look at Argentina, where the water tables are getting polluted because of lithium mining. It's already had impacts on the environment in them countries in many ways before the EV is even built. And then you have to dispose of the damn thing, and it's dangerous, these cells. And has it got a resale value? I don't think so. When you're talking £20,000 for a set of batteries, no second-hand market there. So the Chinese have come along with all these cheap EVs and they're importing them into the UK, and they think, oh, brilliant. Think on. They're really well up on hydrogen cars right now, and they're installing hydrogen stations all over parts of China because they know that that's the future. And Lord Bamford knows its future. And the other thing that we should be doing is we should be building the mini nuclear power stations. It's clean in different regions to supply electricity. And until that's done, until we are able to catch up with proper clean fuel and what have you, we should be still using our own gas, our own oil, and stop these Just Stop Oil people from doing the stupidity that they're doing. But anyway, that's another one. What number was that? That was number 7. Let's go. I'm getting into one, aren't I? Number 8. Oh, well. Now, what can you say? Woke stupidity. Just like this, the little joke I put there. He says, oh, Mary, did you just hear you call our personal old a man old? How ridiculous is it getting? Women who can be men and vice versa. Listen, you cannot choose your gender. You're born one of two, male or female. Punto palato. That's it. Male or female. You can, however, it's your right to choice. Live however you want to live. Live as dress as a woman or dress as a man or have surgery done that makes you more aesthetically like the one you want to be. But you are still a man or a woman. And don't force this sort of radical views on me and expect me to conform to your way of thinking. Now, pushing your LGB, UV, WXYZ rubbish in schools makes my blood boil. You go to school to learn how to read and write and do maths and science and geography and all the things, academic things, to help you get through life and become a better person. You don't want to watch people and I've spoken to, I have quite a few gay friends, but they're friends who are similar age to me, or maybe some of them a bit younger, and they're married couples, and they live very well, they have jobs, they have everything I have, they have. Every rule, every law covers them the way it covers me. They do everything I can do. I do believe years and years ago when gay people were persecuted for being gay, well, yes, they needed to get that changed, and they've done it. But right now, there's no difference between me being a straight man and my gay friend who's married to his husband, and I'm married to my wife. And what's wrong with that? Nothing. That's not the part. And they were kicking off about it as well. They were saying it's all wrong. You shouldn't be taking this thing into school where you've got drag queens going into the school and giving talks to 5 and 6 year olds. No. It's disgusting and it shouldn't be done. Okay? Live when you're 18, live however you want. And giving kids beta blockers to stop their puberty, which is really bad, which I'm glad that it's been stopped now in the UK. And the other part of that is I can identify as a dog, a cat, a log of wood, a Christmas tree, whatever I want to be. Another stupidity. And pronouns, I'm going to say chocolate. Pronouns, using pronouns. I'm afraid, for me, it doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. Pronouns don't work at all for me. Let me just I've made some notes there. If I see somebody on the street, I identify them with my eyes. You either look to me like you're a woman or a man, and I will, even if I know that you're not a woman, out of respect, I will say, Miss, Mr, girl, boy, lady. I would say boy in that case. So, and I identify with my eyes what you are, how you identify yourself. But in my mind, you're still not a woman, or you're still not a man, because you're not. You're genetically not. And if somebody says to me, I've used the incorrect pronoun, I'll say, well, you know what to do, don't you? Do one. I'm not interested. You are what you are. I'll address you with respect as a Mr., Mrs., or Sir, or Madam, or boy, or girl, but I will not conform to this idiocy that's going on. Wokeness, again, is destroying the English culture in many ways. Tell your children to grow up and become adults with a brain, with not just red and purple hair and go out demonstrating on anything because it's good fun. Because one day they'll realise they've been making big mistakes. Anyway, that's the next one. That was number 8. Number 9. We're getting there. Don't worry, you can go and sit down and have a break in a minute. Number 9 is this one, of course. Yes. Sending billions of pounds in aid to countries who probably are better off than Britain at the moment. What's really riled me is 50 million pounds to this new Syrian group of, as far as I say, they're still terrorists. Oh, give them £50 million. No, give it to our pensioners. And you've just given money to a country that hate us, our way of life. They don't like us. They can buy some more guns, can't they? They can buy some more guns and come and attack us when they're ready. Again, absolutely ridiculous. Giving foreign aid. Charity begins at home. And when you think about it, what could you be doing with that money? The UK is in crisis. No money for the needs of the indigenous people and shortfall in homeless, mental health, public services, our security, armed services, transport, care of the elderly, which the government is trying to kill off, as we know. But the government would rather send the taxpayers' money to other countries. So the Stasi Starmer can fly around the world and pretend to be some kind of saviour for the world, whilst people in his own country freeze and live on the streets, can't see a dentist, cancer patients can't get appointments, lying in a hospital corridor, on trolleys for hours and hours. How about trying to stop your jet setting and do something for the people of your own country? Go and visit some places where they're suffering in this country. And, I think I've said enough. You see why I'm the old get? You see why I get really, really angry? And finally, thought I'd have to put this up. This is the promises made by our Ange. The good time girl of Westminster, Angela Rayner, in charge of housing. That's good, isn't it? Has promised to build 1.5 million homes, which frankly is a joke. She has more chance of flying over the Houses of Parliament on a broomstick. And she probably could do it. At the rate the illegal criminals are entering the country, 1.5 million won't cut it, will not cut it at all. Across the UK, there's so many people that are on council waiting lists, and some have been waiting for years. And we don't know what this government puts. We do know they put those to one side. Well, guess who will be the largest recipients of these houses if they ever get built? The poor migrants. Not the poor English people, poor migrants. Who have nothing. Of course they have nothing, because they get rid of it all before they come. And then they get a house and everything. Whilst the poor English can rot, simply that. Thank you, Ange, for doing that for the poor immigrants who get everything. And I'm sure that you won't get elected in the next time. Anyway, that's my 10th. I'm not going to go on and on. That's my 10th thing. So, these are the 10 things that have been winding me up for this year, the last part of this year. I hope it all changes in the new year. Something happens to make changes. I don't know how it can be done, but I hope it is. So that's it. Hopefully you're going to have a great Christmas. I hope you do. And I'll be back being grumpy, I suppose, on you. Why can't they make me happy? I want to be happy and say, look, they've done this today and this is for that. And the pensions have gone, why? Why can't this happen? No. I'll tell you what's happening. England is going to oblivion. There won't be such a place as England anymore. Even to the fact that they don't even like us celebrate. Why is it in certain cities in the UK they have armed police patrolling the markets? Well, we know why it is, but what's just happened in Germany. Please stay safe. That's enough for me today. And until the next time, have a very Merry Christmas and a happy New Year. And hopefully things are going to get better. See you for now.